Meet Candice, a high-end hairstylist for high-profile clients, but also celebrities. To project high status, she's wearing vibrant and high-contrast colors. Being analyzed as a bright winter, she got this specific color palette, which she tries to follow, particularly with this high chroma red. But after analyzing this color palette for her specific spectral type, it turns out 86% of these colors are wrong for her, either in hue, chroma, or depth. Only very few colors within this color palette truly would emphasize and increase her visual radiance. With her current color palette, she projects a radiance level for her skin, hair, and eyes of below 10. This is not enough for her audience to build trust with her, and thus she is losing a lot of authority with the colors alone. Candice is paid thousands to design visual harmony, yet her own visual signal is experiencing visual static. And because her industry demands aesthetic perfection, her uncalibrated wardrobe colors undermine her expertise. As I've mentioned before, this specific red is wrong for her spectral type because of the hue and the chroma. The hue relates to the frequency within the visible light spectrum. It is not aligned with her biometric root, and the chroma is too bright for her, which makes her appear invisible by both these parameters. There is really no focus point because she is completely overpowered by the chroma, but also by the spectral interference that is created through the wrong hue, which means that her skin tone is also changed by the wrong hue. The skin tone appears unnatural and can even look unwell, while her audience really needs to see whether she has enough visual vitality to build trust with her. The observer always checks for visual vitality versus sickness before they can build trust with you, which happens in 30 milliseconds. The chroma specifically emphasizes certain areas in the face, like the forehead, the cheeks, and the chin, creating an unbalanced or splotchy appearance of the face. The chroma and the hue both separate her head from her body, which is what I mean when I speak about spectral fragmentation. This creates the floating head phenomenon. You can only build trust with an audience if you have full body presence. With this color, she has a visual warmth of 80%, which is typical when you are wearing red, which has a very high visual warmth, and a visual competence of only 15%, due to the dissonance and fragmentation in relation to her spectral type. And this is too low to build trust on any levels with her audience specific to her niche. The brain of the observer will interpret this composition as if she tried to scream at them, and as if she was desperate to be seen and have all the attention on her. She will come across as too dominant, but also as overly emotional. And she's not an exception. 95% of leaders struggle with dissonance and fragmentation in their visual and vocal image. And colors represent 35% of that leak. Now, since color communicates either vitality or sickness to your audience, they need to know that you are healthy enough and have enough energy to help them. And people will always avoid sickness at all cost, whether it is true sickness or whether you just appear to be sick or unwell. The data so far shows that leaders are operating at 70% of dissonance and fragmentation on average in their visual and vocal image. And at this rate, it means that you need 10 to 20 years longer to build trust with others. Another important part in building authority is your voice. And here is how it relates to colors. While colors are 35% of all communication, and structural, meaning your wardrobe structure, is 25%. Acoustic, meaning how your voice sounds, is 35%. And verbal, your words and your message, are around 5%. As you can see, both spectral and your vocal sound are the largest areas that influence your trust-building process. And specifically, your vocal sound communicates to the observer whether you are telling the truth or whether you are trying to deceive them. They need to know that you are safe and integrated and not performing. And when you are wearing the wrong colors, you can also communicate deception, especially when the colors are not aligned with your spectral type. people will instantly feel that there's something off. Candice has an alto voice. This is the lowest female voice, a naturally deep, warm, and velvety low register. When it's properly calibrated, it sounds rich, grounded, and incredibly soothing. This voice type triggers trust and authority quite quickly, increasing the serotonin levels in prospects but also in clients, making them feel safe, relaxed, and completely taken care of. But in combination with the wrong wardrobe color, the acoustic perception can quickly change into sounding aggressive and too dominant, strict, or even incompetent. Because her visual signal is already fragmented and dissonant with this specific red color, her vocal signal starts to also leak power. And Candice starts to struggle with two critical acoustic issues. The first one is acoustic hypercompensation. She starts to project a higher energy level to match the high intensity of the color, subconsciously pushing her pitch upward. She speaks in a forced, higher register than her natural voice type. This creates a thin and nasal frequency that sounds compressed and tense. And this triggers cortisol, the stress hormone, in the observer's nervous system, clashing with the relaxing luxury experience she is trying to sell. So the observer, but even her clients, start to feel pushed and rushed. The second issue is vocal fry and signal leakage. When she gets tired after hours of standing and speaking under the saloon lights, her vocal cords lose tension and she falls into vocal fry, a scratchy, low-register, creaking sound. This raw and uncalibrated sound lacks resonance and breath support. In under 30 milliseconds, the observer's brain registers fatigue, insecurity, and a lack of physical vitality. Her voice then no longer commands the premium authority needed to justify her luxury rates. And here are some consequences of vocal compensation for a weak visual signal. This compensation forces Candice's laryngeal muscles to overwork, restricting her vocal folds from vibrating naturally. She then experiences chronic vocal fatigue, throat dryness, tickling, and a constant need to clear her throat. By the end of a high-value saloon day, her vocal muscles are exhausted, leading to temporary hoarseness and a weak, breathy tone. Neuroacoustic research shows that a high-pitched, tense, or fried voice activates the listener's amygdala, the threat center. Instead of experiencing serotonin-driven luxury, safety, status, and calm, Candice's prospects and clients subconsciously register tension and start to fear her. Her voice creates an invisible atmosphere of stress and rush, ruining the premium, restorative experience of her atelier. And there are also financial consequences. Low resonant frequencies in your voice that you typically have as an alto signal high status dominance and confidence when it is calibrated properly. But when Candice's voice falls into the vocal fry or high-pitched tension, she loses authority. Her prospects and clients subconsciously doubt her expertise now, making it significantly harder for her to command premium rates. And this visual and vocal static actively devalues her personal brand. By the way, if you want to measure your level of dissonance and fragmentation in your visual and vocal signal, you can get your authority score at the link in the description. To correct spectral dissonance and fragmentation, I calculate Candice's human spectral coherence code with the first science-based Ray spectral analysis that is able to handle all 8 billion spectral types globally with the highest level of accuracy on the market. Using my Ray spectral library of over 4,000 biometric samples, I handpick 48 coherent frequencies for her wardrobe calibration. So I move her from visual homelessness to a calibrated and unassailable unified field. And here's what happens when you start to wear coherent colors. that are aligned with your spectral type. The coherent hue and chroma balances her dark skin beautifully and anchors its depth, which is very critical for high melanin skin tones. It drives attention to her face, increases the radiance of her eyes, hair, and the skin tone. There's one focus point that creates calm and trust in the audience. She now projects warmth of 100% and competence also at 100%, which is the right mix for her specific niche, since she's working with clients very closely in a high emotion environment. She now appears to be in control of her emotions and self-leadership. The right chroma creates full body presence without overpowering her polarity profile. With an anchored visual image, her voice can relax, and she stops overcompensating, which preserves her vocal health for the many hours that she has to stand in her salon. She now believes in her internal power because it is visible externally, which reduces her imposter syndrome, stress, and anxiety. She stops comparing herself and imitating others since she starts to understand her unique spectral type and her unique features. She goes from visually overpowered and aggressive to an unassailable unified field, creating a magnetic pull toward her expertise as a high-end hairstylist. On Monday, I did a poll in the community posts asking my audience which of the two colors make her look more trustworthy and would inspire them to book an appointment with Candice. And here are the results.